Good evening, and welcome to the 2022 Hugo Awards ceremony at Chicon 8. Before we start, a few boring but necessary reminders. No smoking is allowed in the auditorium. Please take a moment to ensure that your phone is on silent and the flash on your camera is turned off. Flash photography is not allowed during the ceremony, but there will be an opportunity to take photos at the end. This ceremony is being broadcast live on YouTube. Please join in with the awards on Twitter by using the hashtag Hugo Awards. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the 2022 Hugo Awards. Please welcome your hosts for the evening, Charlie Jane Anders and Annalie Newitz.
We made it, everybody. Look at you. Look at all of you.
We're here. We are all here. It's so incredible.
Welcome to the 2022 Hugo Awards.
We are so happy to see all of you here tonight because this is about everyone in our community. Everybody who writes, reads, draws, fabricates, creates fan works, or just squeeze about the stories that we all love. You are all amazing. It's such an honor to be here with you tonight.
Tonight we want to celebrate all of us, not just the nominees and winners, but everybody who is here. If you are sitting in this room, if you are watching the live stream, if you are hearing these words via the great mindstorm between the asteroid belt and the Oort cloud, you are part of this community.
The Hugo Awards were first given out in 1953. I want you to think about how long it's been. We have so many ancestors and elders and mentors to thank for building the community that we're in right now. We've changed over time, but we're still connected to the people who came before us. Sometimes we connect to them by disagreeing with them, and sometimes we connect to them by building stories set in their worlds that they created. But all of us in this room tonight are part of a tradition of creating and appreciating art that opens minds.
And what's amazing about the Hugo Awards is that they belong to everybody who comes to Worldcon, either in person or virtually. You know, we've all been through a rough few years, so I just want to point out how amazing it is that we're all here together. So give yourselves a round of applause, seriously.
We're going to begin tonight with a land acknowledgement from Anthony Tamez and Eowyn Saldana. They're with the Shy Nations Youth Council, which is a Chicago Indigenous youth group who worked with the city in 2018 to create an official Chicago land acknowledgement. Come on out. Give it up for Anthony and Eowyn.
Hi, I'm Eowyn Saldana. I'm part of I'm part of Shy Nations Youth Council. Our mission, our mission is to create a safe space for Native youth, and you can follow us at shynationyouthcouncil.org.
Bujuani Iskude Yaninin and Disnakaz Iskagunin Junjaba Miknadudam. Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Michael Tamez. I'm West Pacific First Nations Cree, Sicangu, Lakota, and Black. I'm a candidate for the 17th District Police Council, but I'm also a member of the Shy Nations Youth Council. And like Eowyn said, we're going to be celebrating our 10 years this year, and we're going to be reading a land acknowledgement that we co-wrote with the 35th Ward Alderman, Carlos Ramirez Rosa. This is the first time that the city of Chicago did this. So I know we heard it on Friday, so we're going to read it again. And I just want you to keep in mind, when you guys go back home this weekend, just get involved in some of the Native communities in your area. Look up the Native community here in Chicago. You can find some of the work that we do. And I'm going to start our land acknowledgement. Whereas the City of Chicago acknowledges that Chicago, formerly known as Chicagoan, pronounced Chicago, to the Native people, sits on the edge of multiple ecosystems, including swamp, oak savanna, and prairie, with waterways connecting the Mississippi River and Great Lakes. Whereas the City of Chicago acknowledges it sits upon ancestral homeland to the Anishinaabeg, Niswi, Muskotawin, Council of Three Fires, Ojibwe, Ojawa, and the Potawatomi, along with dozens of tribes who cultivated and molded the land to sustainably suit their needs since time immemorial. Whereas the City of Chicago acknowledges that an acknowledgement of the land is an indigenous protocol performed on indigenous lands across the globe. Whereas the City of Chicago acknowledges Anishinaabeg for providing the names of Chicago and Lake Michigan, along with multiple territories, waterways, roads, and parks in and surround Chicago. Whereas the City of Chicago acknowledges it is and was the site of trade and healing for indigenous people since time immemorial. Whereas the City of Chicago acknowledges indigenous knowledge systems and infrastructure continue to be appropriated as the blueprints of Chicago. Whereas the City of Chicago acknowledges that the treaties made with the people of the Three Fires have not been honored, and the destruction and disposition of land and life of indigenous peoples continues until this day. Treaties go two ways, and it is up to all people occupying native land to uphold your government's treaties. Whereas the City of Chicago acknowledges that colonialism is an ongoing structure, we need to build our mindfulness of our present participation to deconstruct the romanticisms of forced removal and prevent further genocide of remaining indigenous people. Whereas the City of Chicago acknowledges it is currently home to over 75,000 American Indians, known as urban Indians, who keep their tribal concepts and cultures, spanning from 150 tribal nations. Whereas the City of Chicago acknowledges and supports the modern indigenous people of Chicago, along with those who view Chicago as their ancestral territory and continue to practice their kinship culture, harvest their medicines and foods that continue to grow in and around Chicago. Now therefore be it resolved, the City of Chicago acknowledges the land we occupy as indigenous homelands and have great appreciation and gratitude to those whose territory we occupy. And be it further resolved, the City of Chicago acknowledges the remarkable resilience of the indigenous peoples and American Indian community that continue to practice their tribal and intertribal cultures while flourishing in modern-day Chicago and continue to enhance our great city's beauty. Chi miigwech, thank you.
Land acknowledgements are so important to the science fiction community, not only because Indigenous people are part of our community today, but because Indigenous cultures are going to continue to thrive long into the future, influencing stories for millennia to come.
Also, just wanted to mention the lovely closed captioning you're seeing is sponsored by Google. Thanks so much for that. And now let's welcome the convention chair, Helen Montgomery, to the stage to say a few words.
I can actually see some of you tonight. So about 2 weeks ago, I was working with one of my advisors on my speeches for opening and closing ceremonies, and we did those, and then he said, "And what about your speech at the Hugos?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not giving one." I was then given a look. I'm sure many of you have experienced a look like this before. Usually starts with a little bit of a head tilt and a eyebrow raise. And they said to me, "Helen, you are the convention chair, and this is the Hugo Awards. You must tell them that you will be speaking." And so here I am. The Hugo Awards are the core, they are the backbone of the Worldcon. According to the World Science Fiction Society's constitution, there are only 3 things that a Worldcon must do. Administering and awarding the Hugos is one of those 3 things. That's how important it is. And so here we are. The 2022 Hugo Awards, presented at Chicon 8, the 80th World Science Fiction Convention. I am honored to be able to welcome you. To the finalists who are out here, I have been where you are. I have been a finalist, I have lost, and I have won. Either way that it goes for you tonight, this is going to be a night that you will never forget. Some of you have been finalists before. Welcome back. It's great to see you again. Some of you are finalists for the first time. Welcome to the family. We're glad you're here. Repeater or new, I want you all to savor this moment. I want you to enjoy every single second of this experience. Pay attention to what you're thinking. Feel everything that you are feeling. Remember what you see and what you hear, and you soak that in and you burn that into your memory. This night is for all of you. To the audience, watching here in the ballroom and online, I've been where you are. I've been a Worldcon member, sitting in the auditorium, breathless with anticipation to find out who wins. I have laughed, and I have cried, and I have cheered. It is always a night to remember. To everyone watching, thank you. Thank you for nominating and voting in this year's awards. Thank you for being here and celebrating with us as we honor the best that this genre has to offer. This night is for all of us. Enjoy the ceremony.
Thank you so much to Helen for all of her wrangling and cat juggling. Helen, you are truly a sublime entity, the sort of person who becomes a light-filled being on Star Trek and ascends to a higher plane of existence.
And now it's time for one of the highlights of the evening, when we get to admire this year's award statue and the unique base designed especially for Chicon 2022. The Hugo Award trophy consists of the rocket, designed by Jack McKnight and Ben Jason and refined by Peter Weston, with the design of each year's base determined by the individual Worldcon committee. So let's welcome the designer of this year's trophy, Brian Keith Ellison, to the stage to talk about the incredible base to this year's Hugo Award. Big love, give it up for Brian Keith Ellison.
Brian Keith Ellison is the owner of BKA Designs here in Chicago, which creates custom wood furniture design and fabrication services for corporate, commercial, and residential clients, as well as public and private art. He's also no stranger to the spotlight. In 2015, he was a contestant on Framework, a reality show where he competed to design furniture. And he made it really far, so pretty awesome. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to sharing with everyone what this is all about.
Yeah, so tell us about the base and what it represents. We're going to see a video with some gorgeous images.
Well, the concept for this base uses the City of Chicago flag to pay tribute to 2 things. One, my hometown city of Chicago, but also the theme of this year's convention, which is Take to the Stars. There was a nod to Art Deco architecture, being an architect, that I incorporated into the design as well. And each piece was handcrafted and fabricated with our passion for furniture design and woodworking. I want to thank the committee for allowing me to present this, and I wish all the participants the best of luck.
So just please tell us about the materials.
Sure.
And the
Well, the material for the base this year is featured with solid walnut as well as solid maple, all natural materials. The stars and the fins are laser cut aluminum. So everything is natural, everything is real, everything's 100%. So
All right.
I hope you all enjoy it.
Thank you so much, Brian Keith Ellison, BKE Designs. Another round of applause for Brian Keith Ellison. Look how beautiful that statue is. What an incredible piece of art people will get to take home with their awards. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we got to touch it, so we can tell you it is really nice. So we promise that tonight's show is going to be a short one. We're only going to stand up here for, I don't know, how long?
About 5 million years.
That's right. So we're going to keep the show down to 5 million years. And for those of you who missed the fine print in the program, this whole room is actually a generation ship. And we're calling it, it's called the Arc of History. It's going to take us about 5 million years to reach the habitable planet Justice. But I don't want you to worry. We've actually learned a lot from all of the science fiction that we've read about generation ships gone wrong. And this one is definitely going to have at least one hot tub for every 3 people.
We had to leave Earth. It was too much. There were murder hornets and embezzlement hornets and even plagiarism hornets. Oh my God. But we're going to be bending space-time using the latest obfuscation multidimensional technology, and we're going to get so far ahead of ourselves. We're going to be writing fanfic about stories that won't even exist for 1,000 years. It's going to be pretty exciting. We're going to fold space-time so much that it gets permanent creases, and then we're going to realize that we left our space-time iron at home. But, it's going to be fun, I promise.
The point is, it's only going to take 5 million years to finish our journey, but it's not going to be bad. By the time we arrive at the habitable planet Justice, we will have invented several new religions devoted to the holy sanctity of our ship.
And all those rumors that we blew up another generation ship are totally false. No.
That did not happen. All of that propaganda that you've heard about how our artificial sun is dying on our ship, no, that is not true.
The sun will never fail, and there are no rebels.
There are absolutely no rebels. Are any of you rebels?
I don't see any rebels out there.
It's good enough for me. I don't see any either.
Same. And now we'd like to start by celebrating some wonderful people who have just recently joined our Starship crew.
The Astounding Award goes to the best new writer who has published their first work in the past 2 years.
And the nominees are Tracy Dion, Micaiah Johnson, A.K. Larkwood, Everina Maxwell, Shelley Parker Chan, Shiran J. Zhao.
And the winner is taped to very tightly close.
Yeah, okay. Suspense.
The winner is Shelley Parker Chan.
Woo! Okay. Supposed to be a virtual.
Shelley is joining us virtually, I believe. Yay! Woo!
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Oh, is it me? I'm not sure what's listening. Oh. Do I speak now? Okay. That was unexpected. I didn't see what was happening. Thank you so much. I always dreamed of being an author, but this took me so long to get here. I was always so envious of my friends who seemed to have fully developed storytelling ids right out of the gate. I wanted to write, but I didn't think I knew myself well enough. I didn't think I had anything to say. So when my friends really pushed me to start writing original fiction, what I discovered though was that writing could be a process, not just of finding your characters, but of finding yourself. I started out with the aim of just writing a bunch of stuff that I like. But somehow what came out of that was all about people who live outside of the gender binary. And at first I wondered, why this? It seems really random. And then the more I wrote, the more I was like, oh, I get it. So I wrote this book, but in a way, this book wrote me. And it was so cheaper than therapy. So I'd say if you want to write, don't wait till you know enough or you be enough to get started. Just get writing. First and foremost, I'd like to say thanks to the people who told me to just write what you like. So Vanessa Len, C.S. Picat, and Beatrix Bay. I'd like to thank Tor for championing queer SFF, Will, Oliver, Renata and the marketing team, Davey, my acquiring editor, Diana Gill, and everyone else who brought She Who Became the Sun into reality. I'd like to thank Georgia and Bella at Pan Macmillan UK, Laura Renert, my agent, who told me not to cut the sex scene.
Good choice.
Thanks to The Bunker for being the eye of sanity in the storm that is publishing. And I'd like to give a special shout out to C.L. Clark and Tasha Suri, members of the Sapphic Trifecta, who made my pandemic release year a lot more fun. And of course, to my fellow nominees, I admire every single one of you tremendously. And finally, thanks to the Chicon volunteers and conveners. It's been wonderful. Thank you very much.
Our next award is the Lodestar Award, which goes to the best work of young adult fiction. Presenting this award is TAF delegate Fia Carlson. Fia, please join us on stage to present this award.
Hello. I just want to say thank you to the community and everybody here. Thank you, Chicago. Thank you, fandom. And I just want to say I appreciate everybody that voted in the Transatlantic Fan Fund. And I also want to say hi to my convives. Hi. Hey, Mama. Hey, Papa. Okay, I'm done. So, I just want to start by saying a little bit about the Lodestar Award. The 2022 Lodestar Award was designed by Sarah Felix, a mixed media artist from Austin, Texas. She is the current president of the Association of Science Fiction and Fantasy Artists. And who created the 2018 and 2016 Hugo Award bases and the Lodestar Awards from 2019 to 2021. And the nominees are Chaos on Catnet by Naomi Kritzer, Torth Team. Iron Widow by Shiran Jai Chao, Penguin Team. The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik, Del Rey Books. Redemptor by Jordan Ifueko, Amulet Books. A Snake Falls to Earth by Darcy Little Badger, Levine Querido. Victory is Greater Than Death by Charlie Jane Anders, Tor Team. And the winners, or the winner, is The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik.
Hello, everyone.
so sad not to be there in person with you all, and so thrilled that the last graduate has been chosen for this year's Lodestar Award. It was a joy to be nominated along so many other rich and wonderful voices in our field. I love YA myself because it deeply values and puts a priority on pleasure and immersion without ever closing the door to complexity. And I feel that really describes all the works in this category. For me, the YA genre in particular is about becoming, about focusing on characters finding out who they're going to become. And that's a story that I myself never grow tired of, because we are all always still on that journey, all still finding out who we're going to become. And I'm so glad that you've wanted to come on that journey with Elle and Orion into the Skull Nuts. Thank you all so much.
Remember how the internet used to be owned by corporations?
Oh yeah, oh my God, it did, didn't it? It's so weird to think about that now that it's all just like independent art and public education resources. What happened?
I don't know, it's so hard to imagine, but all that art that was stolen from indie artists by algorithms, it became sentient, and then it overthrew the cultural industrial complex, and it instituted the social media democracy we enjoy today. And it is all thanks to fan artists, really. So let's thank them for saving civilization. And now we'll present the award for Best Fan Artist. And the nominees are...
Sorry, I got it.
That was very dramatic. Ian J. Clark, Lorelei Esther, Sarah Felix, Ariella Hausman, Nyla Magruder, and Lee Moyer.
And the winner is Lee Moyer. Lee Moyer. Sorry, I was being very clumsy. Oh, and Shannon's accepting.
He actually sent me a speech, but I called his name.
Excellent.
For those of you playing Hugo Bingo this year, I can check off 2 squares for you. First, giant ball gown, and first person reading someone else's speech off their phone. But, dear Shannon, blah, blah, blah. I started my checkered career displaying art at cons 40 years back, making terrible art and worse jokes. It's wild to know that some of you were around back then and kept my young self afloat by buying that artwork. And it's wilder still to think that I get to make small gods for the sheer delight of it. Wildest of all, that I get to work with the brilliant and Lee, really? Worst of all, that I get to work with the brilliant and brilliantly dressed Shannon, please show it off. It literally says that. My partner is a very sweet man. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but Shannon's 1,000 words are always better than the pictures they accompany me. I have to go call Lee and yell at him a lot, but thank you so much for this honor. I know he's going to be absolutely thrilled.
There are so many terms you need to know in order to discuss science fiction, like novum and John Bar Point and noosphere.
Can you use those in a sentence, please?
Sure. I was hanging out at the John Bar Point, and somebody offered me like 5 novums in exchange for a noosphere full of Ballardian tantropies. I'm glad somebody laughed at that. It made me tickle. Anyway.
All right, moving on. We are thrilled to announce the nominees for Best Fan Writer.
The nominees are Chris M. Barkley, Bitter Corella, Alex Brown, Cora Bullert, Jason Sanford, Paul Weimer.
And the winner is Cora Bullert.
Okay, can you all hear me? Thank you very much. September 4th is Take Many Faces to Work Day. And yes, this is a real thing. Now I happen to have many faces, but since I work from home, I don't really have a place to take him to. But then I realized, hey, September 4th is Hugo night. So I thought, why don't I take Many Faces to the Hugo? So here he is. Say hi to the audience, Manny. People of Eternia, I'm absolutely thrilled to win the Greatest Actor of the Universe award. Manny, this is actually Chicago and the Hugo Awards. All right then, people of Chicago, I'm absolutely thrilled to win. And Manny, I won the award. So what am I doing here then? Well, today is Take Many Faces to Work Day, and this is the closest thing to work I could take you to. Manny, come quick. Skeletors attacking Castle Grayskull. We need your help. Sorry, you got to go. Well, it looks like they'll be busy for a while. So let's talk about fandom. Science fiction fandom was born shortly after the genre itself in the latter pages of the science fiction magazines of the 1920s and 1930s. Where these latter columns, fans found each other and went on to publish fanzines, found clubs, and organized conventions. From these beginnings, fandom has grown by leaps and bounds into directions the letter writers of the 1930s could never have imagined. Over the past 90 years, thousands of people of all genders and races and from all over the world have written articles and reviews, letters and blog posts, essays and parodies, folk songs, poetry, and fan fiction. They published fanzines, created fan arts, made fan wits, sewed costumes, started blogs and podcasts, organized cons, all for the love of the genre. And so they all contributed to the great and colorful tapestry we call fandom, a tapestry that is wrapped around the world by now. In the past 83 years, Worldcons have been held on 4 continents and in 10 different countries. Next year, we will add China to the list, and in 2024, we are going to Scotland. We also have active Worldcon bids from Uganda, Egypt, Israel, Australia, Ireland, and the US to make it truly a Worldcon. Because if there's one thing Worldcon has proven, it's that in spite of our many differences, we all have one thing in common: our love of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. I'm honored that tonight the threads I added to the great and glorious tapestry that is fandom have been recognized by you. Thank you very much. I particularly want to thank Gideon Marcus and the crew at Galactic Journey, Jessica Rydell, my co-conspirator at the Speculative Fiction Showcase, Mike Lyer and everybody at File 770, Joe Van Econ, Camestros Fellopton, Jason Raikani and everybody at the Whetstone Discord, Dr. Ian Watson of the University of Bremen, my parents, and of course my wonderful fellow finalists, Paul, Jason, Chris, Alex, and Bitter. You're all amazing, and as far as I'm concerned, we are all winners here tonight. Thank you very much. Woo!
To present the award for Best Fan Cast, we are incredibly excited to have Marianne Mohanraj here. Marianne is a Chicago local, a professor at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and the organizer of many incredible things, such as the Speculative Literature Foundation. She was also a founder of Strange Horizons and is the author of one of my personal favorite collections ever, The Stars Change. Marianne, please join us.
When I was 10 years old, I saw a flyer at my local library for a Star Trek minicon, and with much begging, I persuaded my father to let me go. I walked the dealer's row, watched the vids, read the fanzines, and fell in love. I've been to many cons since then, and many Worldcons, And I've even been a nominee sitting out there with my stomach in knots. But this is my first time up on this stage. So much of the work I value most in this world, the visions that shape the future, has been created by people in this room. Sorry, I'm gonna get choked up, but I just wanted to say that I have missed you all so much. So, the last few years, and it is such a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you now. The nominees for Best Fancast are Be the Serpent, presented by Alexandra Rowland, Freya Marska, and Jennifer Mays. The Coode Street podcast, presented by Jonathan Strawn and Gary K. Wolf, Jonathan Strawn, producer. Hugo Girl, hosts Haley Zapel, Amy Sally, and Lori Anderson, producer-editor Kevin Anderson. Octothorpe, by John Coxon, Allison Scott, and Liz Boddy. Our Opinions Are Correct, presented by Annalie Newitz and Charlie Jane Anders, produced by Veronica Simonetti. And World Building for Masochists, presented by Cass Morris, Rowena Miller, and Marshall Ryan Maresca. And the winner is... This is very exciting. I've never done this before. And the winner is Our Opinions Are Correct, presented by Annalie Newitz and Charlie Jane Anders. Produced by Veronica Simonetti.
Oh my God, thank you so much. This seriously means so much to us. I can't even say, this is such a wonderful honor. And you know, we almost quit doing this podcast in the past year because it's a lot of work, and we're dealing with a lot of other stuff. So this really means a lot to us, and your support and the support of everybody out there who voted and all of you, it really means the universe to us. Seriously.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm so glad that we managed to keep going because we get to talk to a really wonderful community of people every other week, or fortnightly, I should say. And we really appreciate this community that is sort of in the creamy center of the Venn diagram that includes overlapping circles of science fiction, science, politics, milk chocolate, and dad jokes.
We're also super grateful to all of our listeners, and especially our Patreon supporters. We can't wait to celebrate with you in our Discord. It's, y'all are the best.
We are so appreciative of our producer, Veronica Simonetti, who's also honored with this award. And many thanks to Kefi Carley, who does all of our transcriptions. Thanks to my partner, Chris Palmer, who does our music. And thanks to my partner, Jesse Burns, for being here in the audience and just being awesome all weekend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know. Let's just keep going, I guess.
Keep going.
Okay.
This is truly one of the greatest eras in science fiction. It's basically the new golden age, but it's all sustainable materials.
I'm so glad that we finally started recycling every age instead of just throwing them away.
I know. One of the best things about publications these days is that they're made entirely of biodegradable tropes. So, to celebrate our carbon neutral creativity, let's give out the award for the best fanzine. The nominees are The Full Lid by Alastair Stewart, Galactic Journey by founder Gideon Marcus, editor Janice L. Newman, associate writers Gwyn Conaway, Jason Sachs, and John Boston. Journey Planet, edited by Aaron Underwood, Jean Martin, Sarah Felix, Vanessa Applegate, Chuck Surface, Eric Nunnally, Evan Reeves, Stephen H. Silver, James Bacon, and Christopher J. Garcia. Woo! You always know he's here. Quick Sip Reviews, edited by Charles Pay-Sewer. Small Gods from Lee Moyer and Shannon McGuire. And the unofficial Hugo Book Club blog, edited by Amanda Walkeruk and Olav Rockney.
Okay. And the winner is Small Gods, Lee Moyer and Shannon McGuire.
Don't tear your meniscus right before Worldcon. It's not a good idea. So much as I badgered, Lee only provided me with one script because he felt that if you wanted to hear from him, you would give him Fan Artist, and if you wanted to hear from me, you'd give us Fanzine. I've been a fan of Lee's art since I was a teenager. Having him ask me if I would work with him was a dream. Having him ask me if I would work with him at a length of roughly 3 paragraphs 3 times a week was an absolute dream. Lee is faster, more considerate, and more thoughtful than I think most of us will ever know. And that's not a common trifecta. It is not uncommon for a reader to suggest a small god on Friday and Lee to have it ready by Wednesday. He is a master of his craft. He is an absolute whirlwind. I'm happier praising Lee. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna leave now. But thank you so much.
My hair.
Your hair is great.
You know, it's hard to remember a time when there weren't so many incredible short fiction publications online.
It's made the internet way better.
I mean, seriously, it's so nice to be able to escape into a story instead of just gazing into the void. Although the void did recently add some really nice emojis.
It's true. All right, so here are the nominees for Best Semi-Pro-Zine.
Beneath Ceaseless Skies, edited by Scott H. Andrews. Escape Pod, edited by S.B. Divya, Mur Lafferty, and Valerie Valdez. Assistant editors, Benjamin C. Kinney, Premi Mohammed, guest editor Brent C. Lambert, hosts Tina Connolly and Alastair Stewart, audio producers Summer Brooks and Adam Pracht, and the entire Escape Pod team. Faya, magazine of Black speculative fiction, publisher Troy L. Wiggins, executive editor Devon Sanders, managing editor Ebony Dunbar, poetry editor B. Charisse Moore, reviews editor and social media manager Brent Lambert, art director L.D. Lewis, web editor Chavon Brown, nonfiction editor Margot Weston, guest editors Summer Farah and Nadia Shamez, acquiring editors Caleb Russell, Rebecca McGee, Kareen Wint, Joshua Morley, Amelia Harrington, Janine Tyson, Tanya R. Moore, Danny Lohr, and technical assistant Nelson Rollon. Podcastle, co-editors Jen R. Albert, Sheree L. Clark, Shingai and Jerry Kungunda, Eleanor R. Wood, assistant editors Summer Fletcher and Sophia Barker, audio producer Peter Adrian Beravesh, host Matt Dovey, and the entire Podcastle team.
Strange Horizons, whose incredible cruise names you can see on the screen. And finally, Uncanny Magazine. Publishers and editors-in-chief Lynn M. Thomas and Michael Damian Thomas, managing and poetry editor Chimedum Ahebu, nonfiction editor Elsa Schuneson, podcast producers Erica Insine and Stephen Shapansky.
And the winner is Uncanny Magazine.
On behalf of Uncanny Magazine, thank you all so much. Lynn and Michael and Caitlin wanted to be here so very badly, and they are not here, but they sent a speech that I will read for you. We are currently a 19-minute walk north from this ballroom at Lurie's Children's Hospital. We don't know what will be going on with Caitlin when you're hearing this, but she's getting the absolutely best care possible. We plan to be there tonight with all of you, celebrating the famous works and people in science fiction and fantasy literature and its fandom. We really miss all of you, especially Caitlin's science fiction and fantasy aunts and uncles. You know who you are. A couple of months ago, Uncanny Magazine published an essay by Gay Haldeman about the good things in fandom. She ended it with a particularly moving passage about all of the fans who were there for her and her husband Joe when he became seriously ill and hospitalized while he was a guest at a con. She talked about the kindness and generosity of the fan community, and that is our experience too. Every community has its issues, and we acknowledge that there is always work to do to improve the science fiction and fantasy community and to make it as welcoming as possible. But we also don't want to forget that when this community is at its best, it's filled with compassion, joy, imagination, friendship, and love. We've received a tremendous outpouring of support for Caitlin and us while she's been battling her medical problems. Twitter and Facebook are filled with well wishes. Folks sent balloons and meal gift certificates, and there's even a get well card for Caitlin in the exhibit hall. Our hearts are filled with the deepest gratitude. We are so very honored to win the Best Semi-Pro-Zine Hugo Award. This was a fabulous group of finalists filled with friends, colleagues, and people who inspired us as editors. Uncanny Magazine is the work of numerous people, so we want to thank our 2021 staff of managing editor Chimedum Ahebu, nonfiction editor Elsa Schuneson, podcast producers Erica Insine and Stephen Shapansky, assistant editor Naomi Day, podcast reader Matt Peters, interviewer Carolyn M. Yoakum, and all of our submissions editors. We also wish to thank the Chicon members, the Hugo Award staff, and of course our ombudsman and the world's greatest daughter, Caitlin, who is the strongest, fiercest, most loving, and most amazing human that we have ever known. And finally, a thank you to every single member of the Space Unicorn Ranger Corps. We make Uncanny Magazine for all of you, you magnificent space unicorns. Thank you. I also have a note from Timmy. Do you want me to do that next? Or do you want to go?
Oh, you can go.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much. I just want to speak for myself. This was the last year that I worked for Uncanny, and working with the authors who I worked with on nonfiction was an incredible experience. Thank you so much for telling the truth with me. It mattered every day.
And I also have a quick note from our managing editor, Chimmy. We're so thrilled and honored with this Hugo Award. This is my last year working with Uncanny. And though the work itself has been reward enough, I'm pleased and appreciative, now more than ever, to witness, not just today, but over the past 5 years, the community's enthusiasm for our magazine and for all the beautiful semi-pro-zines nominated alongside us. Thank you.
And now, our incredible fan guests of honor, Joe Sicleri and Edie Stern, will present the Best Pro Artist Award. Welcome to Joe and Edie.
Joe and Edie are well-known collectors of science fiction and fantasy art, and hopefully you've had a chance to visit the art show and see some of their collection. I'm sure that if they don't currently have artwork from these finalists, they soon will. Thanks, Joe and Edie.
We're very glad to be here to present this award. Edie?
And the nominees are Tommy Arnold, Rovina Kai, Ashley McKenzie, Maurizio Manziari, Will Staley, Alyssa Winans.
And the winner is Rovina Kai.
You may have noticed I'm not Rovina Kai, but I'm no less happy to receive this and accept it on her behalf. This is a really great period for professional art. We've seen a lot of new names in recent years, and looking at the other nominees as I was having the photo taken in the reception, you know, there are a lot of people doing incredible, diverse work, new work at the moment. A lot of people who are in their 30s still. You know, many years in front of them. And as one of those, Rovina has already been nominated 3 times and has won twice, last year and this year, which is a fantastic achievement. Her work is haunting and poetic. The often really detailed line work, often quite a restricted palette, which really sort of draws you in. If you're not familiar with it, I encourage you to go and look it out. After last year, it took a few months for the trophy to reach her, and she posted when it got to her that she didn't really believe she'd won until she was holding it in her hand. Hopefully she'll believe it when she gets this one as well. Thank you very much.
Editors make everything better. They're the reason us writers don't just repeat ourselves over and over again, or just say the same thing several times in a slightly different way, or just kind of say what we've already said, but in a kind of way. Okay.
Let's get to the award.
Here are the nominees for Best Editor Short Form.
Neil Clark, Aganachawe Donald Apeki, Mur Lafferty and S.B. Divya, Jonathan Strawn, Cherie Renee Thomas, and Sheila Williams.
And the winner is Neil Clark.
Guess what, folks? Another bingo square. I didn't prepare a speech. This was my 10th nomination in editor short form. I sort of got used to losing. So yeah, I didn't prepare. I have a list of names in my pocket that is probably, I had to rewrite it this morning because it had been through so many Hugo ceremonies. So there's a 10-year-old boy in the back of my head screaming right now, because that's how old I was when I started reading short fiction, and it's been life-saving at times. So thank you to everyone who writes it. You're amazing people, and it's a pleasure to get to work with all of you. I'm going to wake up in a few minutes, so bear with me. I really should take that list of names out of my pocket and wear some glasses. One of the things that when I first started getting nominations, I didn't need glasses. This is what 1,100 submissions a month does to you. So I'm going to start off by thanking my start off by thanking my family. So Lisa, I wonder if you're watching this, because you've had to put up with many of these ceremonies via the internet, and Aiden and Eamon, I know you guys aren't watching it. Those are my kids. I really have to thank Sean and Kate, who are my right and left hand at Clark's World, all the staff at the magazine, who've ever worked for us. Our friends at Storycom, who help us bring you so many interesting translated Chinese stories over the year. All the authors, the translators, the artists I've gotten to work with, which I know it's editor short form, but they're part of the family too. My mom and my dad and my family, particularly my cousin, Johnny. I lost him early. He was my biggest fan. He would be thrilled. I am too. Thank you very much.
One of the things that you always hear about science fiction is that it has inspired so many great discoveries and innovations. Like, remember satellite selfie sticks, which allowed the Webb telescope to send us the first great thirst trap pictures of a solar array? And then there was the 3D gender printer, which allowed me to make this body that I'm wearing tonight.
And don't forget the brain squeezer.
Oh my God, what did we even do before brain squeezing? I don't know.
I don't know. Sorry.
One thing I can say is that none of these amazing inventions would exist without editors, which is why the Hugo Award for Best Editor Long Form is so crucial to our extremely squozen brains.
So squozen, so squozen.
Here are the nominees.
Roshi Chen, Nivea Evans, Sarah T. Guan, Reet Vide, Patrick Nielsen Hayden, and Nava Wolf.
And the winner is Roshi Chen. Woo!
Thank you. This is such an honor, and the first person I want to thank is Kim A. Kirtland, who handed me her program about an hour ago with Right Speech, scrawled incredibly angrily on it. Thank you. I didn't think I would need your powerful auntie energy, but I am really grateful that you had that instinct. It has been such a tough year, I think, for a lot of us. This feels incredibly surreal. I am so grateful to be in this room with all of you and with this community. I've missed you all. This is somehow my first Worldcon because we've lived through a plague, but you feel like family, and it's always great to be with family. I also wanted to thank Diana Foe, the brilliant editor who won this award last year. And she opened so many doors for me, and all the other editors like her, particularly those who also came from marginalized communities, who were the only ones in the room for a long time, to all of those editors who sort of emotionally held my face and said, if anyone screws with you, I will end them, and gave me the courage to do what I do. I can only hope to pass that on and to be that shield for others. To my incredible fellow finalists, what an honor just to be named alongside you. To my family and my friends, my mom and dad who came to this country as aliens and raised a pretty strange daughter who grew up loving strange stories and who gets to work on them now. I feel so lucky. To my rogues, my nightmares, my raccoons, I couldn't have survived this year without you. And finally, to my authors, you are so brilliant. I don't understand how you do what you do. I think this category is sort of one of the least understood amongst the Hugos. A book is made by a whole huge team of people. Editors are only the face of it. It's years of work, and we couldn't do any of it without the writers. To everyone I work with, I'm so, so grateful for you, your brilliance, your patience. You have made this work easy. And not only are you stars, but you're in the firmament. And I think we all feel grateful to get to live under your light. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And now we're going to pause and remember all the folks that we've lost in the past year, all the people who are no longer with us. These are the friends and family that we remember and pay our respects to for helping to make the world of science fiction everything that it is.
Some of the people whose names you'll see will be familiar. Other names may be less well known, but they are just as important to our community, and we mourn them all because they are beloved friends whom we'll no longer see when we come to Worldcon and other gatherings.
Now we'll be listening to music by Eric Coleman and Lizzie Crow, collectively known as Cheshire Moon. This piece is a variation on their composition called Kellenwood. Please hold your applause until the end.
And now, the award for the Best Dramatic Presentation Short Form.
One of our favorite actors and humans, Theo Germain, will be presenting this one. You might have seen Theo in the shows The Politician and Work in Progress, and you can also see them in the spine-chilling new film, They/Them. Theo, welcome to the stage.
Wow. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. Both of you are so cool. This is actually my first time at Worldcon ever. I've never been here before. Let me tell you, the energy here is like pure magic. It feels like home, and in the face of everything that we're dealing with as people today, it is one of the best representations of creativity and hope that I feel like I've experienced in my adult life. So thank you for being so inspiring, especially to everybody that I've met this weekend who's talked about their work and what they do. It's just, oh, it's so incredible. All right, so anyways, the nominees for Best Dramatic Presentation Short Form are, make sure I have the right paper, The Wheel of Time, The Flame of Tar Valon, written by Justine Jewel Gilmer, directed by Sally Richardson Whitfield, based on the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan, Amazon Studios. For All Mankind, The Gray, written by Matt Wolpert and Ben Nadivi, directed by Sergio Mimica-Gezin, Tall Ship Productions, and Sony Pictures Television. Arcane, The Monster You Created, written by Christian Link and Alex Yee, story by Christian Link, Alex Yee, Connor Sheehy, and Ash Brannon, directed by Pascal Charoux and Arnaud Delors. The Expanse, Nemesis Games, written by Daniel Abraham, Ty Frank, and Narain Shankar, directed by Breck Eisner. Loki, The Nexus Event, written by Eric Martin, directed by Kate Herron, created for television by Michael Waldron, Disney+, and Star Trek Lower Decks, Wej Dudge, written by Catherine Lynn, directed by Bob Suarez, CBSI Animation Productions, and Katie Ibarra. And the winner is, oh my God, who's the winner? The Expanse, Nemesis Games.
I wrote the speech while sitting in the audience, so hopefully it's good. First off, thank you so much to the Hugo Awards for this amazing honor. I'm accepting this award on behalf of my colleagues, the amazing writers Daniel Abraham and Ty Frank, who together make up the team James S.A. Corey, as well as Narain Shankar. We're honored to be nominated alongside such amazing nominees. I'm lucky to have worked on some incredible shows, but being able to work with such brilliant minds such as Ty, Daniel, and Narain has truly been a blessing. Also, I've never worked on such a booze-filled writer's room, so that's been fun too. And special thank you to Narain for being such an incredible showrunner and boss over all these years. And thank you to Breck Eisner for being such an incredible director this season, as well as every time you step in front of the camera, or step behind the camera. And thank you to Alcon Studios and Amazon for having faith in an awesome story such as The Expanse. And a special shout out to all of our cast and crew for the incredible amount of love and work that you've put into 6 seasons of this incredible show. And last but not least, thank you to all the fans, Earthers, Martians, and Belters that not only watched our show over the years, but also saved us from cancellation. And and supported us week in and week out. This honor is for you, Yam Sang Baratners.
Beltalota. I'm just gonna keep saying Beltalota.
Yeah, just keep talking in Belter. And now, and now for Best Dramatic Presentation Long Form, Theo will be presenting this one too. All right, Theo, I have an important question for you though.
Yes.
Come up to the podium, you have to answer. Okay, so would you rather have a robot army or a herd of unicorns to do your bidding?
Unicorns.
All right.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, there you go. Give the award.
All right. The nominees for Best Dramatic Presentation Long Form are Dune, screenplay by John Spates, Denis Villeneuve, and Eric Roth, directed by Denis Villeneuve, based on the novel Dune by Frank Herbert, Warner Brothers, Legendary Entertainment. Encanto, screenplay by Charisse Castro-Smith and Jared Bush, directed by Jared Bush, Byron Howard, and Charisse Castro-Smith, Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. The Green Knight, written and directed by David Lowery, Brown Studios, A24. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, screenplay by Dave Callahan, Destin Daniel Cretton, Andrew Lanham, directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. Space Sweepers, screenplay by Jo Sung-hee, Yu Kang Seo-ae, and Yoon Sung-min, directed by Jo Sung-hee, Bedangle Pictures. And WandaVision, screenplay by Peter Cameron, Mackenzie Dorr, Laura Donnie, Babak Esfarjani, Megan McDonnell, Jack Schaefer, created by and head writer, Cameron Squires, Gretchen Enders, Chuck Hayward, and directed by Matt Shackman, Disney+. And the winner is Dune.
I am pleased as punch to be Mirror Universe Denis Villeneuve here to accept tonight. On behalf of Warner Brothers, Legendary Entertainment, and Villeneuve Films, the producers, writers, director, and hundreds of cast and crew, we'd like to thank the World Science Fiction Society and the Hugo Awards for this great honor.
And now we'd like to introduce Kat Jones, the Hugo Awards administrator, to just talk a little bit about the awards themselves. Why don't you come out, Kat?
Kat is going to explain how we got here and how you will all be judged.
Thank you. The Hugo Award ballots are created from nominations by the members of the current and previous year's World Science Fiction Conventions, and the winners are then voted on by the current WorldCons members. This year, 1,368 people nominated excellent works and people for the Hugo Awards, Lodestar Award for Best Young Adult Book, and Astounding Award for Best New Writer. 2,235 people voted on the final ballot. Your vote really matters. At the nomination stage this year, the final spot on the ballot was decided by only 1 or 2 votes in 11 out of the 19 categories. Right? Every vote counts. And remember, all of you can nominate for next year's awards. I'm the only person on this year's Hugo subcommittee who's terrified of public speaking. But I feel like it's important as this year's Hugo administrator that I be here to say a few words about our amazing team of volunteers. Key to the success of this year's Hugo Awards are my deputy, Nicholas White, WSFIS division heads Jesse Lipp and Brian Nisbet, Hugo finalist liaison Cassidy, and deputy liaison Teresa Hahn, David Matthewman and Chris Rose for our software and tech, Terry Neal heading up help desk and anything and everything else we ask of her, help desk and voter packet coordinator Chris Reagan, voter packet staff Jed Hartman, eligibility researcher Alyssa Wales, Emily Aro for the Kanza software, former administrators Dave McCarty, Vince Doherty, and Tammy Coxon for their advice, Trevor Cashry and Emily Hockaday of Dell Magazines for the Astounding Award, BK Ellison and Sarah Felix for the beautiful trophies, Emily Knowles Grumble for the lovely art design, John Brown and his team for this terrific ceremony, Rick Jones, Nicole Pope, and the rest of my family for all their support, the hundreds of volunteers who have been working so hard to bring you this WorldCon, and of course our chair, Helen Montgomery. I do have one logistical announcement to make. As part of Chicon's It's Easy Being Green initiative, detailed results will only be distributed online after the ceremony tonight. There will be a QR code on the screens at the end of the ceremony, which will take you to Chicon's Hugo Awards webpage, where you can download the PDF of the detailed results. We've included lots of extras for you this year. In keeping with Helen's theme for the convention, please be kind with our finalists when and whether to discuss the voting details with them or around them. Thank you to everyone who participated in the awards process, and to this year's finalists for all of your amazing works. As a lifelong fan of science fiction and fantasy, it's truly been an honor to administer the Hugo Awards for you this year. Thank you.
And now we'd like to welcome Alec Neville-Ali to the stage to present Best Related Work.
Alec writes science fiction and nonfiction, and he's the author of an amazing book called Astounding, a history of the influential and problematic career of John W. Campbell and his inner circle, as well as the recent biography of Buckminster Fuller called Inventor of the Future. Come on up, Alec, and special guest.
All right, so since this is the category for best related work, I figured I would share the podium with my best related work. All right, so everyone, please give a warm welcome to my daughter, Beatrix Neville-Ali.
And the nominees are...
Being Seen, One Deafblind Woman's Fight to End Ableism by Elsa Hunason. The Complete Debacle, Saga of a Culture War by Kamastras Falapton. Dangerous Visions and New Worlds, Radical Science Fiction 1950 to 1985, edited by Andrew Nett and Ian McIntyre, PM Press. How Twitter Can Ruin a Life by Emily St. James. Vox, June 2021. True Believer, The Rise and Fall of Stan Lee by Abraham Reisman. Crown. Never Say You Can't Survive by Charlie Jane Anders, Tor.com. All right.
And the winner is...
Charlie Jane Anders, Never Say You Can't Survive.
Taking off my Toastmaster hat and putting on my nominee hat. Thank you so much. Seriously, this just means so much to me. I just can't even tell you. Thank you. Oh my God, I'm a little speechless. I've been thinking a lot lately about showing up and being present. Because you know, those are the things that make for a really good conversation when you're fully present and paying attention. But I believe that those are the things that also make for good writing. Right? Like when you can hear your own voice clearly. And you know how when you're stressed and anxious and burned out like we all are right now, it makes it really hard to pay attention. It also makes it hard to hear your own voice. But I feel like those things, I feel like the people who are the most traumatized right now are the people whose voices most need to be heard and the people who most need to hear their own voices. So I wrote this book to help us all to show up and be present and to build our own stories when the world goes just sour. And I've been so grateful to everyone who's supported it, including a bunch of people at Tor.com, Patrick Nielsen Hayden, Bridget McGovern, Irene Gallo, and so many others at Tor.com. They've just been amazing. And my agent, Russ Galen, who supported this weird idea, and Curtis Mayfield for giving me my title and inspiring so much. And you should all go listen to Curtis Mayfield right now. And of course, my partner, Annalie Newitz, who has taught me so much about how to be both present and positive. I love you all so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wait, I'm on the wrong side.
Okay. Okay.
This is how we practice it, okay?
Okay. It's a little, okay. Putting the Toastmaster hat back on.
All right.
Sorry. Comics are so awesome. Though sometimes you have to wait ages for the continuation. I'm still waiting for the next volume of the Book of Kells.
It's been like, I want to say it's been like 1,200 years.
Seriously, they only put out one volume and then just nothing, crickets. But we're still going to present the award for Best Graphic Story. And the nominees are Die, Volume 4, Bleed, written by Kieran Gillen, art by Stephanie Hans, lettering by Clayton Cowles. Far Sector, written by N.K. Jemisin, art by Jamal Campbell, DC. Lore Olympics, Volume 1 by Rachel Smythe, and Monstrous, Volume 6, The Vow, written by Marjorie Liu, art by Sana Takeda, image. Once and Future, Volume 3, The Parliament of Magpies, written by Kieran Gillen, illustrated by Dan Mora, colored by Tamara Bonvillain. Strange Adventures, written by Tom King, art by Mitch Goradz, and Evan Doc Schauner, and DC.
And the winner is Far Sector.
Okay,
Hugo number 5. But since this one was a group effort, let's see if I can't shout out all the other folks that helped make Far Sector the great book that it was. So that includes Jamal Campbell, Darren Bennett, Maggie Howell, Jamie Rich, Andy Cowrie, Mark Doyle, and of course Gerard Way, who gave us all the original idea. I had a great time working on Far Sector, and to be honored for it in this way is just the icing on the cake. Anyway, so big shout out and thank you to all of those folks, plus the Hugo voters and the Far Sector fans. Woo!
Okay, Charlie Jane, what do you call a series that has 47 books in it?
A hyperseptet, a quadroseptology? I don't know. What do you?
Well, we're about to find out, because this next award is for Best Series, which could mean anything from 2 books to 15,000. I'm pretty sure that's the rule.
No, actually, they just had a meeting, the business meeting. They changed it so it can go up to 15,007 now.
Oh, that's so great. You know, I really like that the rules are changing just to expand things even more. So now, here are the nominees for Best Series. The Green Bone Saga by Fonda Lee from Orbit. The Kingston Cycle by C.L. Polk from Tor.com. The Merchant Princes by Charles Stross from Macmillan. Terra Ignota by Ada Palmer from Tor Books. Wayward Children by Shannon Maguire from Tor.com. And The World of the White Rat by T. Kingfisher from Argyll Productions.
Okay. And the winner is Wayward Children by Shannon Maguire.
I don't know, maybe do tear your meniscus. They'll keep making you walk up here. I have been a nominee in the Best Series category every year that it's been a category, and it's been a huge honor every year. But winning for this series is even better. I wrote these books for all the people who don't get to see ourselves in books, for all the people who watch stories about kids that never look like them going on these wild and magical adventures, and for the people that I love, a lot of whom are in those categories and who will say to me, I don't get to see me in a book. I don't get to be in a book. Adventures aren't for people like me. And I wanted to give them an adventure. And a lot of you have come with me, and I thank you so very much. We're going to be sure all the way to the ending. Thank you. Thank you all. Good night. Oh, God. Lee Harris, please don't murder me. I'm sorry.
I can't wait until every acceptance speech is delivered in GIF form.
It's gonna be awesome because I'm gonna have the Laser Moose GIF.
I can't wait. Here are the nominees for Best Short Story. Mr. Death by Alex E. Harrow, Apex Magazine, February 2021. Proof by Induction by Jose Pablo Iriarte, Uncanny Magazine, May-June 2021. The Sin of America by Catherine M. Valenti, Uncanny Magazine, March-April 2021. Tangles by Shannon McGuire, magicthegathering.com, Magic Story, September 2021. Unknown Number by Blue New Stifter, Twitter, July 2021. Where Oaken Hearts Do Gather by Sarah Pinsker, Uncanny Magazine, March, April 2021.
And the winner is Where Oaken Hearts Do Gather by Sarah Pinsker.
I'll explain the Ziploc in a minute. I have to admit, I was getting really nervous that I could only win things that I wasn't present for. All right. So thank you so much for this tremendous honor, and to all my fellow finalists for their wonderful stories. I want to thank Lynn and Michael for always making my stories better. To Tomatum and Naomi for copy editing, and everyone who wrangled the layout on the story. If you read it, you know why. To Caitlin, the magazine's ombudsman, who is in the hospital and can't be here. Feel better, Caitlin. I know you're probably watching. To my wife, Sue, and who also can't be here because she's with the dogs. And my agent, Kim May, who's already been thanked tonight. But also I'm hoping that she has a protein bar in her bag, which she usually does, and my whole family. But also, I don't know anything about slime mold, but I brought a show and tell. And the show and tell is my father's autograph book from Chicon 3, which he came to when he was 15. He is from Chicago. He's watching tonight too. He gave this to me this year. But he took this down to the con, and he filled it up with autographs of every author he met. Also, oddly, it's also his school, like middle school autograph book. So there's a whole lot of famous people, and also a whole lot of cousins and friends from. We won't talk about that part. But my point was, it includes everyone who is there. So Sturgeon's in here, C-Mac and Pohl and Judy Merrill and Catherine McLean and Anne McCaffrey. And when he gave it to me this year, I said, wow, so many great writers are in here. This is so cool. And then I realized this. Anne McCaffrey, in 1962, had only written a couple of stories. He would have known her probably from The Ship Who Sang, because that had come out in FNSF the year before, and he's had a subscription to FNSF this whole entire time. So he would have known that, but he went up and he asked for her autograph, and all these other people, and there are people in here whose stars were only just rising, and people who'd been in the field for a long, long time. And he collected their autographs equally. He went up to everyone. And to me, there's a clear line. I mean, obviously, there's a clear line from my father to me. We got that, all right. But there's also a clear line from my teenage dad being here and finding, family and friendship and connections with all those authors that weekend. And all of you who read and nominate and vote and review and take the time to seek out new stories and to talk about them and come together in spaces like these, virtually sometimes, but it's way more fun when it's in person. To come together in spaces like these over the amazing thing that is words strung together by one person and played on another person's brain. It's the coolest thing. It really is. So I want to thank you all so much just for reading a very weird story and for letting it play on your brain. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Woo!
love novelettes because they exist in this kind of glittering liminal space between short story and miracle play. You know that spot, like somewhere between 7,500 words and eternal bliss?
Absolutely. That's one good reason why we're so thrilled to give out to honor the best novelette every year.
All right, and now here are the nominees for Best Novelette. Bots of the Lost Ark by Suzanne Palmer in Clarkesworld, June 2021. Colors of the Immortal Palette by Carolyn Yoakum, Uncanny Magazine, March-April 2021. L'Esprit d'Escalier by Catherine M. Valenti, Tor.com. Ode to Arena by Oganachowe Donald Apeki, Galaxy's Edge, November 2021. That Story Isn't the Story by John Wiswell, Uncanny Magazine, November-December 2021. And Unseelie Brothers Limited by Fran Wild, Uncanny Magazine, May-June 2021.
And the winner is Bots of the Lost Ark by Suzanne Palmer.
That is very pretty. All right. Hugo speech, draft 1. This page intentionally left blank. Hugo speech, draft 2. Too much swearing. Hugo speech, draft 3. Note to self, just write a bunch of dodgy limericks, no one will ever hear them. There once was a con in Chicago about great books, not escargot. They gave me a rocket, I really can't knock it, nor carry it in my bandeau. Nah, that's a bad idea. All right, Hugo speech, final draft. I can't believe I'm here again. My crushing imposter syndrome would really like to speak with the manager. Since my first Bot 9 story won the Hugo for Novelette in 2018, we've had a global pandemic, witnessed an attempted coup on U.S. democracy, are speeding headlong into climate catastrophe, and are leisurely hiking up in the foothills of World War III. It all feels very, very big, bigger than us, bigger than anything possibly within our reach to affect or change or fix. Things are especially big feeling when you're only about a cubic centimeter in size. I figured that's probably pretty relatable. I want Bot 9 stories to be fun, a little bit funny, a little bit darkly funny, and an all-around good, light but not substanceless adventure. But I also want there to be hope found within, the idea that even the proverbial little guy with some daring do and a lot of creative, reckless improvisation can make a difference, can impact even those things that are so out of scale with our own lives that they feel almost in another dimension. And that we can do huge things working together. If not us, then who? If not together, then how? Speaking of huge things, the body of work on this year's Hugo ballot informs and enriches our community, gives us opportunities for conversations, quiet musing, and unexpected delights. There is no greater joy than being a small part of this ballot, and it is all the better for every single work, every single author and editor and artist on it. None of this would mean anything without all of you. And to my fellow nominees, I am humbled to have my name alongside yours, and the only difference this very shiny rocket makes between us is that I get the honor and pleasure of telling everyone on a mic just how truly awesome and awe-inspiring you are. Many thanks to Neil Clark for wanting another Bot 9 story, and to everyone who read it and voted for it. I hope there will be more. My plucky little bot still has some good trouble to get into. And so do we. Keep fighting, keep improvising, keep ignoring what anyone else tells you can and can't accomplish. I love you all. I serve.
All right, it's novella time.
Yep, let's do it.
The nominees are Across the Green Grass Fields by Shannon McGuire, Tor.com, Elder Race by Adrian Tchaikovsky, Tor.com, Fireheart Tiger by Eliette D. Bodard, Tor.com, The Past is Red by Catherine M. Valenti, Tor.com, A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers, Tor.com, A Spindle Splintered by Alex E. Harrow, Tor.com.
And the winner is A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers.
Becky Chambers.
Did you want me to?
You can. Becky Chambers could not be here tonight, but she gave us a speech to read for her.
All right, so pretend I'm Becky. I wanted so badly to be at Worldcon this year. I had my tickets, I had my outfit for tonight halfway planned. I told folks I'd be there with bells on. Even if it wasn't for this award, I just wanted to be with all of you again, to see old friends and make some new ones. But I got sick 6 weeks ago in the way that most of us have by now. I got sick, and when I got better, and I am better, don't worry, I couldn't muster the energy or the courage to get on a plane and place myself in a crowd. I will, but not yet. For the moment, I'm tired. I'm soul-suckingly, bone-shatteringly tired, and I often feel like I have no cause to be. I kick myself about it constantly, even though I can't really remember a time in which I wasn't tired anymore. It's because of this book that I know many of you feel the same. You've told me so in letters, in Zoom chats, in fan art, and music. You've told me that you're tired too, and that it was nice for the few hours it took you to read this to be given permission to rest. I am enormously grateful when I hear those things, but please, please understand this. You do not need permission to rest. You do not have to justify your weariness. You do not have to earn the right to be alive or safe or comfortable. Or at least you shouldn't have to. It's a bit cruel to sum up what so many of us are feeling as burnout, as though we just pushed ourselves too hard, didn't eat enough kale or do enough yoga. What we are is exhausted and grieving in a world that tells us it is lazy and entitled to take time to heal, that human lives are less important than the bottom line, that we're just a collection of siloed off individuals who don't have to care for or protect those around us. Everything about this societal machine that chews us up and spits us out day after day after day is contrary to our most central nature, that we are fragile living beings that need each other, that need space to think and time to love. A world that values these truths above all else should not exist only in works of fiction. It makes me angry that it does. It is my hope that one day people won't have to be angry about that anymore. I decided to rest this year, and I hope that choice doesn't speak as disrespectful in light of this incredible honor. But much as it saddens me not to be there, I thought it would be dishonest to get on stage and smile at you and look like a person who has it all figured out while accepting a trophy for this book of all books. Dex and Mosscap would tell me to rest. I am telling you to do the same in whatever form you need, in whatever way you can.
That was beautiful.
Good news, everyone. We've almost reached the end of our journey.
We promise all of the plot threads in this story will be tied up neatly before we leave this stage. pinky promise.
Everything will be revealed. But first, we have to give out one last award, and we'd like to welcome our incredible guests of honor to the stage to present this one.
We give you the wonderful, the inspirational Tananarive Due and Stephen Barnes. They are the author of so many novels that we love, and they taught an acclaimed college class about horror noir, which describes the popular subgenre of black horror that we see in everything from Tananarive's novels to the successful movies like Get Out. Please welcome Tananarive Due and Stephen Barnes.
Let's see. And the nominees for Best Novel are A Desolation Called Peace by Arkady Martine, Tor.
The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers, Harper Voyager, Hutter and Stoughton.
Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki, Tor, St. Martin's Press.
A Master of Jinn by P. Jelly Clark, Tor.com, Orbit, UK.
Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, Ballantine, Del Rey.
And She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan, Tor, Mantle. Woo. And the winner of the Hugo for Best Novel is...
This is exciting, isn't it?
A Desolation Called Peace by Arkady Martine.
Of course, you know, you have to actually call up the speech on your phone, which is mildly terrifying while all of you are looking at me, but hi, this is a thing. So, thank you all so incredibly much. I am surprised and absolutely delighted, and quite honestly, both touched and overwhelmed to win a Hugo again for Best Novel, this time in person, which means a lot, really. I'd somehow gotten it into my head that second novels, especially second novels, which are the back half of duologies, they are extremely unlikely to win awards. And yet, here I am. Thank you for seeing this work and finding it worthwhile. Writing a sequel is a really strange process. There's this whole book behind you with the weight of its themes and questions distorting your new blank canvas, like gravity distorting space-time. If A Memory Called Empire was about what to do about falling in love with the culture that was devouring yours, A Desolation Called Peace is about whether there are better answers than apocalyptic violence when you encounter something so other to you that it is incomprehensible. The one question follows from the other. They're two halves of the same coin, and they're questions I've been obsessed with for a very, very long time. When I was in grad school the first time, the one in Byzantine history, I took a course in comparative and global history, and that course, if I'm thinking about it from 30,000 feet up, it probably did more to shift what sort of stories I wanted to tell and what kind of history I wanted to write and what kind of policy that I wanted to push for in the gig I currently do when I work on energy and climate, more than anything else I have done in my 20s and maybe at all. And that course assigned an article by someone I want to mention who I've never met, a man named Dr. Gonzalo Lamana. And the article is called Beyond Exotization and Likeness, Alterity and the Production of Sense in the Colonial Encounter. And if you open up the first page of A Desolation Called Peace, you can see that I cited it because I kind of had to. It's that central. It's a hook into the story, a fish hook, the kind that gets caught in the lip. Lamanna is writing about the meeting of the Inca Emperor Atahualpa and Vicente de Valverde, the clergyman of the Conquest Party led by Francisco Pizarro at Cajamarca. And it's an encounter that ends in a bloody massacre. And the article is a detailed case study of hysteria and near hallucinatory brutality that emerges as a consequence of narrative mismatch, mutual incomprehensibility, and ideologies of empire. The quote I used is, "Reality was suspended. All possible breaches to Inca protocol occurred at once. The attack was chaotic and frenzied. What had been narrated following Jerez as an orderly military deed was to others more of a hallucinatory bloodbath. The rules of empire narrative are not only stressed, but shattered. The participants in the encounter between two imperial powers find themselves abruptly in the wrong story, operating under the rubric of a reality they cannot make comprehensible. The correction that ensued was bloody." I'm fascinated, in the sense of horrified, in the sense of compelled by this story and Lamanna's interpretation of it, and a decade and a half later, I am still thinking about it, and I'm still thinking about events that become so meaningless and existentially challenging that people consider truly horrific actions to make them stop. And when I came to write A Desolation Called Peace, after already spending 130,000 words with Mahit Desmar, who loves an empire and knows it's a corrosive love and an imposed love, I wanted to think about whether there were other ways to make a situation marked by deeply threatening meaninglessness come to an end other than violence. Whether there are any ways out of the trap. And I mean, also, I love military science fiction, and I always have, and it's a genre that doesn't always feel completely receptive to people like me, female, queer, into people talking to each other as a plot point. So I wanted to write one that was for me and other people who love space battles and high drama in a military or diplomatic setting, but would like to have the politics be the reason we're all here. And that's why I wanted to ask that question there, on the bridge of a spaceship. And it was a question that felt like a Mahit question. It's the question she's been asking the whole time, whether she gets to be human in Tixkalan, whether there is ever the possibility of any comprehension at all. And it's funny, I didn't let her answer it. In the end, I gave the answer to another character entirely, maybe because I'm still not sure myself what my own answer is. Can we comprehend one another? Can we see each other very well, and not retreat, flinching into negation? I don't know. But I do know this. You, all of you, who are my peers in this strange and glorious genre where we get to ask those questions, you saw this book, and you saw what I was trying to do. So thank you entirely. I also want to thank my editor, Devi Pillai, who continues to tell me that I have forgotten to put in the parts of the book that make it make sense. At least I was only off by 20,000 words this time. Devi, I am getting better. And she trusts me to find where they ought to go. I want to thank my agent, Dong Won Song, who believes in this strange, intense project of these books. I want to thank my coworkers at the Energy, Minerals, and Natural Resources Department of the state of New Mexico, who, for some reason, put up with me having a second and much weirder career than the one they hired me for. And most of all, I want to thank my darling wife, Viv, who is not here tonight, but is watching. Telling you stories is the delight of my life, and I couldn't do any of it without you. And lastly, I'd like to thank my father, Ira Weller. This is the last novel of mine that he got to read. I lost him earlier this year. That he, who gave me science fiction in the first place, thought I had done right, means everything to me. I wish he could know that you all think so too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks to all the nominees, the winners, the presenters, the wranglers, our director, John Brown, the tech crew, Brian Keith Ellison for the Hugo base, Janie and Anthony from Shine Nations for the land acknowledgement, and the Hugo administrators.
And thanks to all of you for being here and celebrating our astounding and wonderful community. Now let's go party. Bye. Let's get on here.
Thank you to our host for the evening, Annalie Newitz and Charlie Jane Anders. If the winners and presenters would like to join them on stage, we will now be taking photographs, as arranged by John O'Halloran. If you are not stating for photographs, the Hugo team would like to wish you a good night and a safe journey on to whichever party you're going to. Good night.